Judaism is an ancient tradition that has grown over the years. The Talmud comments, the Torah, our sacred writings, is written with black fire upon white fire. The black fire, the letters, depend upon the white fire, as without the white, one could not distinguish anything. Thank you. Rabbi Malka Drucker notes that women overlooked from half of the human narrative are like the white fire, the element upon which the black fire depends. Although our scriptures reflect a heavily patriarchal society where narratives are seemingly coming from an androcentric perspective, and even the law enforces women's subordination in the patriarchal family, Midrash, both classical, rabbinic, and contemporary exegesis, has tried to fill in, and in essence, to reconstruct Jewish women's history. So, biblically, although we read of Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, our matriarchs, their primary roles seem to be as mothers. Yocheved and Miriam are portrayed as Moses' mother and sister, respectively, but it's only through digging beneath the pshat, digging beneath what is on the surface, that we really get to realize all of their immense prophetic roles and their intrinsic positions in the destiny of the Jewish people. Even with the stories of Queen Esther and Judith and Ruth and many others, much is left unsaid. In terms of leadership, the Bible portrays only Deborah as acting on her own. She was a judge, she was a leader, she was a prophetess, she was a warrior, and yet, here again, when you read the text, the contemporary reader realizes that much is missing from the narrative. Now, archaeologists have found evidence of a few women being in leadership positions in early Judaism, even in the rabbinic period, some of them even being heads of synagogues. But there's nothing in the literature to identify who they were or fill out their stories. In fact, there seems to be a rather large historical gap until the 19th century, when women such as Emma Lazarus, Henrietta Zold, and Golda Meir appeared. Yet we know of Bruria, a 2nd century Talmudic scholar. We have hints about the daughters of the famous medieval commentator Rashi. We know of Deborah Ascarelli and Sarah Coppilia Sulam, Italian Jewish Renaissance poets of the 15th and 16th centuries, of Dona Grazia Nassi, a 16th century merchant who organized the flight of hundreds of Maranos. And we are grateful for the writings of Glucko of Hamlin, who gave us the only full memoir extant of a Jewish woman prior to the 19th century. And of course, women have always been vital to the Jewish story. We bear and raise the children. We keep the home running. We transmit the traditions within the framework of home and family. And often we have businesses on the side to enable our men to study Torah. But even women's connections to the divine have generally been framed in relation to how they related to the challenges of our daily functions, generally in relation to our domestic roles. Much contemporary literature not only focuses on reclaiming the feminine history and the feminine approach to God, but also defining a path that neither divides nor excludes male and female, but brings opposites together in an inclusive life of holiness. This seemingly modern view has actually been evolving for many years, but up until the Haskalah, the Jewish Enlightenment of the 18th and 19th centuries, the very idea of women as rabbis would have seemed somewhat out of reach. Although the word rabbi literally means teacher, traditionally a rabbi was an observant Jewish male who observed mitzvot, which are commandments, who knew halakha, Jewish law, and tradition and resolved halakhic disputes and instructed the community. The role of women in the rabbinate has been hotly debated within the Jewish community. The first female rabbi ever to be ordained was Regina Jonas of East Berlin. On December 25, 1935, Rabbi Dr. Max Dinnemann, head of the Liberal Rabbis Association of Offenbach, ordained Jonas to serve as a rabbi in Jewish communities in Germany. Well, you know what happened. Rabbi Jonas's career was cut short and she was sent to Auschwitz and murdered in 1944. Several non-ordained women have assumed the role of rabbi of congregations upon the deaths of their husbands who had been rabbis. Tehillah Lichtenstein served as the leader for the Society for Jewish Science from 1938 until 1973. From 1951 to 54, Paula Ackerman served as a rabbi to a congregation. But finally, in the United States, the Reform movement ordained its first female rabbi, Rabbi Sally Present, in 1972. The Reconstructionist movement ordained its first female, Rabbi Sandy Sasso, in 1974, and 11 years later, the Conservative movement, its first, Rabbi Amy Eilberg, in 1985. Now, the Orthodox movement has yet to officially accept women in its rabbinate, but there are a few Orthodox women who have been ordained in some seminaries. I know of at least 6. One of them is Rabbi Mimi Feigelson. She was a student of the late Shlomo Karlebach. She was ordained by a Beit Din, a panel of 3 rabbis, and is one of the learned and charismatic leaders and teachers in both the American Jewish University, which is conservative, and the Academy for Jewish Religion, which is transdenominational. But Rev Mimi does not use the name rabbi out of respect for the current social structure of Orthodoxy. In January of this year, 2010, Dr. Rabbi Avi Weiss ordained Sarah Hurwitz as Rabbi, a feminized name for rabbi. But he's had so much pressure that he has suspended further ordination of women for the present. There are now hundreds of women who are actively involved in the rabbinate, in Reform, Conservative, Reconstructionist, and renewal streams of Judaism, along with a handful of Orthodox women. We, who are now in the leadership roles, stand upon the shoulders of those who came before us. I am humbled and honored to be in the 18th generation of rabbis on my father's side of the family, but the first female rabbi, with God's help, not the last.
I represent the Sikh religion. Sikhism is the 5th largest religion in this world. We are visible all over the world, doesn't matter which part of the world we go. Now, today's topic is something dear to my heart. I'm sure most of us are aware of the fact that a drastic distinction between roles of the male and female exists in all history, human history, right up to modern day. The women have accepted this secondary role, though not without resentment, with the males in the male-dominated atmosphere of the world. Because people use religious doctrines to define their styles, the religious scriptures in both East and West seem to condone, even encourage, unequal treatment of women. Guru Nanak, that's the founder of Sikh religion, is our prophet. We have a line of 10 of them. He's the first one, he's the founder. He was born in northern India, which is called Punjab, in 1469. At the time that Guru Nanak Dev Ji came into this world, the Indian woman was severely degraded and oppressed by their society. They were given no education, no freedom to make decisions. Their presence in religious, political, social, cultural, and economical affairs were virtually non-existent. So this is the background that Guru Nanak is working from. She was referred to as a man's shoe, the root of evil, a snare, a temperance, Her function was to perpetuate the race, do household work, and serve the male members of the society. Female infanticide was common, and the practice of sati, that's when a husband dies, the woman was encouraged to, or even forced to burn herself on the fire, on the husband's fire. That's a sati practice. And the immolation of the wife on the husband's fire, it was encouraged. With this background, Nanak came out, and this is right from the scriptures, because his original word is I'm only translating it into English. He says, from woman, a man is born. Within a woman, he is conceived. To a woman, he gets engaged, and he marries a woman. Woman becomes his friend. Through woman, the future generations come. When his woman dies, he seeks another woman, and he's bound to a woman. Then he answers the question to the public. So why people, don't you want to respect that one, the woman that gives birth to the prophets, to the saints, to the kings, and to everybody else in this world? Why shouldn't we respect her? But he goes further, he says, from a woman is born. But a man can never be born from a man. See, so we are better. And without a woman, there will be no one at all. But there's only one who is without a woman, and that is the Creator himself. Nobody else is without a woman. None of us will be here if there was no woman. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji, he preached against female infanticide. He really raised his voice against sati system, that's burning the woman alive, and the ill treatment of widows. There were two main religions at that time, Hinduism and Islam. Especially the Hindus, they would really ill-treat a woman after her husband died and she didn't burn herself at the fire. But Guru Nanak Dev Ji, in the form of Guru Amarjit, that is our third prophet, he said, if any woman's husband dies, she has a right to remarry. So he